So, as we're coming into this last part of the year, I think this can bring up a lot of reflective energy. And as we look back on the year of the snake and all of the shedding, the challenges, the initiations that we've been moving through, I feel called to just, whoever needs to hear this, just come from a place of seeing what has happened for you and what has gone well for you. Because from what I've understood about the collective community that I'm connected with, that we've all been moving through some really challenging times, and that it hasn't been easy for a lot of us. Whether you're had unexpected changes and transitions in your work, or beginnings and endings with relationships, or just facing some really shadowy parts of yourself this year and coming up against, disappointment and heartbreak and illusion. No matter what has been hard for you this year, I just want to share this message that we can still choose to look upon this year with a lens of understanding and appreciation that really focuses on what is happening for us and what is unfolding for us. And I think that's really, at least for me, has been really key, because I too fell into periods and points where I just didn't know. I just didn't know what was unfolding for me. I just didn't know if I could continue to trust and lean into the unknown, the discomfort, the challenge, and questioning every step of the way. I was there too this year. And this year, more so than any other years, I feel like I've been in this internal state of having to regulate myself and my emotions, and just doing my best to stay the course, holding on to the threads of hope and faith and trust whenever I could, but for so much of that time, not being able to see them, not being able to feel them, and really struggling with that. So if you've also been having a hard year, I just wanted to share some compassion with you that you are definitely not alone. This has been a collective shift in expression and identity, the falling away, the shedding of so many old ways of being, kind of on a mass scale. And I hope that at this time of year, as we start to draw more inwards, as we start to slow down and to contemplate what has unfolded for us, that we can do it from a place of, I hesitate to say appreciation and gratitude, because sometimes it is very hard to see in the beginning why things are so challenging and I'm just hearing it should be easier, and it could have been this, or it could have been that. And I think ultimately, for me, what's been helpful has been to allow space for all the range of feelings and thoughts and experiences, to give myself that validation, the soothing, the attunement, the comfort. And definitely this year's been a year of calling on the divine for that loving holding in times when I could not provide that to myself. And so as we're drawing to a close this year, is there anything or any room for you to step back from the happenings of your day-to-day, your physical reality, and just anchor back into this knowing that you are divinely loved, you are divinely held, and that the divine is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-knowing, all-loving, all goodness, all harmony, and that the divine plan is unfolding in reflection of that, and that your life, your unfolding this year and every year has been a huge part of that process. And can we see where these areas of like pain and struggle and hardship are? Can we see how that can open up a space for us to allow in more opportunity, more light, more understanding, more faith, more trust, more hope, because it pushes us to those places where we have no choice really but to surrender what we think should be happening, surrender our expectations, and seeing our reflection in these areas of growth and saying, yes, this is really hard and I want things to be different perhaps, but that the divine knows what's best for me, for all life, for all beings, and this is part of the plan. I think that there, sometimes with spiritual practice, it can feel a little bit bypassy, like spiritual bypassy, when it can feel like we are having this very dark, difficult experience in our physical life and reality, and then to constantly have to just sort of almost ignore that in order to anchor back into the spiritual reality that we are safe, we are loved, and we are abundant, and all the other divine qualities. But what I've learned this year has been that when us spiritual folks, like knowing that that is our ultimate truth in the way that we want to live our lives, it does require a level of embodiment. It requires the anchoring of that spiritual truth into the physical, and our bodies are the best way to be able to do that. And I've talked at length on this channel about connecting to the body, listening to your body, and I think in this season right now, what I'm being shown most clearly in my own life, as well as the people in my students and in my communities, is that there's a way to hold both that doesn't require choosing between one or the other. I think sometimes on the spiritual path, you're like, oh, well, if this is all an illusion, like nothing that we experience in our physical bodies or reality should matter at all. We shouldn't pay any attention to it, and just like fixate and orient on like a more spiritual ideal and state of perfection, which also exists and is maybe the only actual existence. So I think what has been helpful for me in my earthly process, and remembering that I am still a human. Yes, I am a spiritual divine being with infinite potential and possibility, and at the same time, I am still a human. And that circles back to the very beginning of this video, talking about, can we have some grace and forgiveness and understanding and compassion for ourselves, because we still have this human side of us who makes mistakes, who doesn't get it perfect, who is moving slowly when we know that we could be quantum leaping and jumping timelines, when we know our spiritual selves, our energetic bodies are already miles ahead of where we are physically at in our physical reality. Can we have some grace with that? Can we come to peace with that? Can we accept that we are not bad or broken or behind? That this year has been an embodiment of that. This year has shown us all the ways in which we are still very much in our human experience, learning the lessons. We don't know everything. We don't have it all figured out. What we thought was working for us no longer works. And so it's in these periods where we're returned to that void, we're returned to that space of curiosity, infinite potential, and creativity, that we find our new level and our new path forwards, the steps unfolding one at a time in front of us, because that's what we're being asked to do, to just trust and surrender and to know that things had to fall away in order for us to be able to create space for the new. So in light of all of these reflections that I'm sharing with you right now, I was feeling really called to hold space for this community, to hold space for women who have been going through a challenging time this year and navigating the disappointments, the transitions, the change, the expectations falling through, and to really be able to be held in a space where you're learning to hold yourself too, to learn the tools to be able to say, to comfort any part of yourself at any time with whatever's going on, whatever you're feeling, no matter what the external situation is, that you can come home to yourself, you can attune, you can heal, you can provide to yourself exactly what you need in order to feel safe, in order to be able to release and let go of any of those externally validating places where we're still giving our power outside of ourselves, letting our stability, letting our security, letting our self-worth be determined by what's outside of us, what's happening in our lives. Because when you have the skills to embody your self-worth, you become unshakable. You can move in alignment with your divine path and purpose with little resistance, even when things seemingly take a turn and you don't know what's about to happen. You can still anchor in and provide yourself that safety, that security, that knowing that I'm okay, I'm always going to be okay and taken care of because the divine loves me, I'm lovable, I'm enough, everything is always working out for me. All of those things that we already tell ourselves, but because we are tuning into that through our bodies, we're anchoring that spiritual wisdom into our physical, and so we can walk that path instead of just thinking it. So doors are open for my Embodied Worth group program. It is going to be a 2-part journey where, because I think for the month of December, with this reflective energy, it's a slow, sort of spacious, just coming inwards and reflecting, not putting out a lot of energy, not having to show face or having to perform or put energy into another transformative journey just yet. That will come in January. But for the first part of December, being held in a reflective portal with women who are also doing the work on the same page. And what I'll do is share reflective prompts, some somatic cueing, a little bit of intuitive flow, as I always do, about how to reflect on this year from a place of holding on to your self-worth, how to stay focused on the good, how to remember and recall all of the things that are working out for you right now, rather than just focusing on what hasn't. And I'm telling you, this is a practice I've been devoted to this year because it's been that challenging for me, and it has changed everything. My nervous system feels so much more regulated. I have truly found a place of deeper peace without needing everything on the outside to be anywhere close to perfect. I'm still very much in a process right now, and this program itself is a huge act of surrender and trust. I had no idea I was going to be doing a group program at the end of the year and into the beginning of 2026. So we'll be reflecting in December, and then in January, as our energy starts to rise and we start coming out of our cocoons of reflection, I'll be offering the somatic parts work and somatic attachment skills and tools that have completely changed my experience of my life, my body, my spiritual path and purpose over this last 2 years. So you'll get access to those tools through a course, and we'll also do 4 weekly live calls too. So all of the details of the program and the crazy Black Friday pricing, that is until November 30th, will be in the description box below. There are only 10 spots available for this special year-end and New Year experience, and I am so grateful that God is using me in this way so that I can serve the women who need the support right now. So if this is calling to you, check out the details below, and I will see you in the next video.